Well, welcome back to math class. It seems like it's been forever since I've seen you guys. I'm anxious to get back to learning some new things and reviewing some things. So you can see in front of you the three things that I'm going to try and cover today. I'm going to do a quick overview of distributive property because we might hit it as we're doing some expressions and moving to equations. And we're going to review expressions, and then today we're going to substitute and evaluate expressions. So a couple things I want to tell you first of all is we are going to use our yellow math book today. We're not going to use it very often, but sometimes it's just easy for us to practice in it because we have problems in front of us. So while I'm talking, I'm going to have you guys go ahead and open up your yellow math book to lesson 12, and it is S57. I'll leave that on the screen. What I would like to do, though, eventually is I would like to get to doing our math, making our own kind of math book and notes. And so tomorrow I'm going to ask that you guys each have some kind of spiral notebook. It can be an old one. It can be a brand new one. I have lots of old ones in my classroom. Actually, this is one of my daughters that she didn't finish up using. And a lot of times you guys will have notebooks that you'll have leftover paper in. So tomorrow, let's get a notebook so we can use that as our new math book. Okay, well, hopefully you've all been able to find S57. And what I'd like to do is do a quick overview of distributive property, which some of you might already know and have seen before. Distributive property is basically, it's the word distribute. We're going to kind of pass things out, and we're going to, as some of us remember, multiply. When things are touching like this means multiply. However, in this problem, I want to distribute the 3. Distribute means I'm going to pass it to the 3 times x, and then I'm going to distribute the 3 times y. And so I'd like for you to write in your math, because I want you to go ahead and write, we're going to do 3 times x plus 3 times y. 3 times x we know is 3x, and 3 times y is 3y. Okay? Let's look at this next one. Once again, we're going to distribute the 4. We're going to take the 4 times the first term. So we're going to write here 4 times 2h. Then we have a plus, and then we're going to distribute the 4 times g. 4 times 2h. Well, 4 times 2 is 8h plus, and 4 times g is 4g. So we have now 2 terms for our final answer. Okay, let's flip the book over, and let's do a few more practice problems here real quick. Let's distribute the 8 times the h, 8 times the h, plus, and distribute the 8 times 3. 8 times h, oh, that's 8h. And 8 times 3 is 24. Okay, hopefully you're kind of getting the hang of this. Let's do 3 more problems. 3 times 2h plus 3 times 7. I'm putting a dot, obviously, for my time since we're using variables, and I don't want to get confused with the x. 3 times 2 is, we have 6h. Plus, and 3 times 7 is 21. All right, try the next one on your own. I will work quietly, and when you're ready to look up on my screen, go ahead. All right, see how you did. 5 times 3x is 15x. 5 times 9y is 45y. All right, last one we're going to do. All right, go ahead and look up here and see how you did. Like I said, this is kind of a quick introduction. We'll do some more of this possibly later, but I just wanted to introduce distributive property. Okay, so if you were listening, I said we're going to do distributive property, and we're going to do some reviewing expressions. So we're going to turn our math book to a new page. All right, as you can see, I've turned over to a new page. We are going to jump up to lesson 17 real quick to do some review of expressions. Lesson 17, and we're going to turn to page S77. S77. So if you want to pause your video so that you can get up to that page, we're going to do a couple of review problems. All right, so I kind of started off, these are some challenging problems, so we're going to look at some of these together. Let's look at problem number 1. We had to write an expression. Remember, an expression is where we're going to use variables and numbers as coefficients or constants to basically write a problem, an algebraic expression. First one says, 4 less than the quantity of 8 times n. This is a trick one. Okay, that less than. I always do 4 less than by doing this. Okay, so 4 is less than something. I don't know what that something is. Well, let's see what that something is. It's the quantity of 8 times n. 8 times n, I would write like this. 8 times n. So I have 4 less than the quantity of 8 times n. Let's try number 2. 6 times the sum of y and 11. Well, I have to do the sum of y and 11. Those have to go together, and I'm going to multiply it times 6. So I'm going to do the sum of y and 11. I have to take this quantity and I have to multiply it times 6. So I'm going to kind of set it up like the distributive property, because then I'm going to take 6 times that quantity. All right, let's look at number 3. The square of m, that would be this. Reduced means minus, and 49. See if you can try number 4 on your own. Quotient, remember, means division. See if you can write an expression for me. The quotient when the quantity of 17 plus p is divided by 8. Here's a helpful word. Quantity of 17 plus p. So that is going to be something like this. 17 plus p, I'm going to put in parentheses, and I'm going to divide that by 8. Some of us like the fraction. We might do 17 plus p divided by 8 that way. Okay, and let's try actually one more, number 5. It's kind of like a story problem, but we can still write an expression. It says Jim earned J in tips and Steve earned S in tips. They combined their tips and then split them equally. Combining, that means we're going to add them. So I'm going to take Jim's tips plus Steve's tips. Then I have to split those in 2. So I might do something that looks a lot like the problem in front of us. I might say I'm going to split it in 2 like this. Or I might want to do the parentheses J plus S divided by 2 that way. So both of those are correct. Now we're going to look at expressions kind of like this, and today we're going to substitute, which means I'm going to give you the value of the variable. I'm going to tell you what n would equal in this situation, and then you would try and solve it. Right now we can't solve these expressions because we don't know what the variable represents. We don't know what the number is. So if you would please take out your marker and your marker board, scrap piece of paper, something like that, for us to do some practice problems on. All right, so as you can see, I have an expression written down for us. It's 7x. Now we know that that means multiplying. There's nothing we can do. We can't evaluate. We can't solve this until I tell you what the value of x is. So for example, if I told you that the value of x is going to be 6, we could actually solve this problem. We would substitute. So that means wherever we see the letter x, we're going to take it out, and we're going to put a 6. Now we can't leave it like this because this looks like the number 76. So we have to show that they're multiplying. 7 times 6 is 42. We're going to keep the value of x at 6. And what if I gave you this expression? Okay, first thing we would substitute. We would put the number 6 where x is. So I'm going to take the x out and I'm going to put a 6. And I'm going to copy everything else. Now I can solve this. What is 6 divided by 3? 2. We're going to leave the value of x at 6. And what if I did this expression here? 29 minus x. I'm going to substitute the x out, and I'm going to put the value. And now I can solve it. What is 29 minus 6? It's 23. Let's try a little more challenging one. We're going to keep the value of x at 6. What if I gave you 2x minus 2? See if you can solve that problem. All right, so hopefully you've substituted here 6 in. So we're going to have 2 times 6 minus 2. Remember, according to order of operations, we are going to multiply first. And 2 times 6 is 12 minus 2. Your answer should have been 10. Okay, pretty simple so far, but sometimes you might have more than one variable. Let me give you another kind of expression here. What if I gave you 5 plus b plus c? We can't solve this right now because I have not given you an amount for b or c. If I told you that I wanted, let's say I want b to be 7, and c to be 2, could you solve it then? Absolutely. We would substitute for b, 7, and for c, 2. And now we would solve it. Now remember, order of operations, when we're adding, we do the first 2 together, which is going to give me 12 plus 2, and my answer is 14. All right, well, let's keep our b as 7 and our c as 2. And what if I gave you 4, let's say 4b minus c? Could you solve this expression? We can, because we know a value amount for b and c. This means multiply. Take and substitute the c out and put a 2. Now we basically have an order of operations problem. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Multiplying is first. 28 minus 2 is 26. All right, so as you can see, some problems might get a little bit more challenging looking, but we still do the same thing. So I've given you the value for y and d up here, and I've given you the expression I would like for you to solve. Can you substitute in for me and see what our answer would be? If I substitute in for y, it's 8. So I have 6 times 8 on the top. And for d, I'm going to substitute the number 4. Multiply 6 times 8, which is 48. I have to divide that by 4. Those of you that know your multiplication facts know that 4 goes into 48 12 times. All right, let's keep these values, and let me give you another problem. How about this one? 20 divided by d plus y. Write this one down and see if you can substitute and solve for me. Make sure you substitute correctly. This is d, so it needs the 4. The y value is 8. So I have 20 divided by 4. 20 divided by 4 is 5, and now I'm going to add 8. So now I have 5 plus 8, which is 13. Now, sometimes you can actually have where you have 3 variables, and that might be a little bit challenging. The most important thing is to always remember that you put the correct value in for the correct variable. Okay, well, go ahead and work on your assignment for today, and then tomorrow we will move on to combining like terms.